we have a very fun episode for you today where we're going to dive into some of the nitty-gritty about things that you should and should not be talking about with a girl. Whether that's a short-term fling or a girlfriend, prospective girlfriend, even a long-term relationship. We're going to be talking about what questions you should and should not be asking and answering when prompted. So, cheers for chaps.
Cheers for chaps.
And we drink. Ever notice how drinking's like war? Cup of troops over the gums. To the end of ourself. A campaign against myself. Armed with bourbons and scotches and rums. Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
So Jack.
Yes. I'm excited. It's our first beer of the day.
Actually, this is the first time we've filmed in a long time as well.
Yeah. We've had some other stuff going on, so it's been a little bit since we've actually been able to get together to film.
Yeah.
And so this is actually really exciting for us.
So let's kick it off.
Let's kick it off
with, I think, the biggest and most troubling questions. Now, this could be when you're on a first date or on a second date or even later on in a relationship. It can pop up at any time. The question that pops up the most is, how many people have you slept with?
Yeah.
This one, it's the worst one. How many people have you been with before? Because, you know, girls will ask this to you.
Yeah.
They're going to always be the first ones to ask it.
Yeah.
And then you're going to ask back after that. Now, anyway, how do you deal with it, Jack? What's your perspective?
So, my personal go-to answer is, all right, listen, I'll tell you and I'll be honest with you. And I really will, because generally speaking, if I'm seeing a girl more than once, I'm being totally honest with her. And I'll say, listen, I'll be totally honest. I'll answer you if you want. But before I do that, I want you to stop and think, do you really want to know the answer to that? Because they will already know they'll already know about this course, they'll already know about the site, because I talk about all this stuff openly. And so if I'm teaching men how to meet women, you kind of already have an idea of whereabouts my number is going to be, and it's going to be on the upper end. Now, be sure before you actually hear a number that you really do want to know that. If you want to know, I'll tell you. And 75% of the time, they'll say, yeah, do you know what? Actually, I don't really want to know, because I've already got enough of an idea. I'm good. Sometimes they'll say, no, I really do want to know, and I'll tell them. And it never goes well, but at the same time, because it happens so early in a budding relationship, let's say, that I'm still willing to walk away, right? Like, if she's not willing to accept, like, this is what it is, you said you really wanted to know, here you go. And then if it makes things go awry, so be it. I don't know, how do you normally deal with it?
Well, I usually do it in the nuclear option, which is quite stupid really, but I mean, I do it based on the girl.
Yeah.
If she's a naughty girl, and she's just a girl I kind of want to bang, and you know, I can tell she's a party girl, I'll tell the real number straight off. But if she's a girl I really think, okay, maybe I might want to date this one, I will lower it, the real number.
Okay.
And I'll make them guess.
So do you do like a divide by 3, or, oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I want you to guess, and then you're like, oh wow, you got it right on the first guess. That's perfect, right? Because whatever they guess is gonna be, that's something that they're comfortable with, right?
Yeah. But you don't want to. Basically, as long as you do it the way you deliver, even if it's a high number, is you don't do it in a braggy sense.
Yeah.
Like like you have to just make sure you deliver it in a way where it's nothing you're proud of, but also you own it at the same time.
Yeah, it's not something you're embarrassed of either.
Yeah.
Now so Rich just said it depends on the girl, and it really does, because there was one girl who I met her on Tinder.
Right.
She came over, we banged until 7 a.m. right? And then the next day she asked me how many girls I'd been with. And like at that point you already know, like, oh, this girl likes to party. So at that point what I said was, more than you.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, no, definitely not that, right? And then it's like, okay, cool. Then let's bang it out some more, and we can tell stories and, whatever. But, like, you'd have to be careful with an answer like that. That would have to be in a very specific situation. but generally speaking, don't be braggy, don't be embarrassed.
Yeah, and just try and, I'd say get her to guess, because what she guesses will depend on what maybe she's happy with.
Yeah.
Because she's probably going to say a number she's comfortable with, that she'll be like, okay, right, yeah. Rather than, you know, if you go too high over that number, then obviously you're probably going out of what she can feel happy with,
sure,
like in a dating sense.
Sure.
So just use your social awareness. Try to pry out what she might feel about a much higher number based on what you ask her to guess.
Well, and interestingly enough, this works the same way whenever a girl asks your age. Like if you meet her out at a bar or something, and she says, "How old are you?" and you say, "Guess." And then she says like, "I think you're probably 25, 26. Then at that point, if you say like, "Actually, I'm 45, then it's like, "Whoa, no!"
Yeah.
Her head explodes. But instead, if you're like, "Wow, you're really close. You must be very good at guessing age." Listen, she's already anchored something in her mind where she's comfortable, and so then if you cheat it a little bit up or down from there, then she's still okay with it.
Very true. Very true. Actually, this is a golden rule I've recently started following, because I did blow out a lot of girls by saying my real age. And now, when they guess it, usually like they guess around 28, because they know I'm over 30.
Yeah.
They can tell.
Yeah.
But they're willing to accept 28 because it's still in the 20s. Because you know, if you probably know me from my videos, I'm usually going for young girls, like early 20s. You know. So they'll be willing to have a 28-year-old, but most won't be willing to have a 35-year-old at the time.
At least not initially.
Not initially, exactly.
Yeah, not initially.
So yeah, go with the guess, and then smash it out, and then you can tell the truth later. Because at the end of the day, it's just what she can feel comfortable with in her mind, but it doesn't matter in the great scheme of things.
No, and if you get into a situation where she's like, "Wait, you said this before we hooked up, and now you're saying this afterwards. Why did you change things before we hooked up?"
Yeah.
You know, it's easy enough to just answer like, "Well, you wore makeup before we hooked up. Isn't that a bit deceptive of the actual truth as well?" So we're both doing things that are slightly deceptive but not that important for the sake of mating purposes. And then afterwards, you know, the morning after, once the makeup is all washed off and once my dick is already satiated, then I can see your true face and you can see my true number. Fine.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it.
I mean, again, like everybody has their own things that you want to do with that. For me personally, I'm usually pretty honest about it, because if I'm being completely real, I get too drunk too often to keep lies straight. And so like I honestly can't be fucked with telling lies anymore.
Also make sure if you are with your mates on a night out or with your wings or whatever, make sure they know not to reveal the real ages, and make sure they're all on the same boat as you. They do the guessing game and they're all doing the same thing, because all it would take is one dude to be like, "Oh yeah, he's 35 or he's 40," and then that will fuck it all up.
We have a friend who's multiple times come up to us while we were with girls and been like, "Wow, I didn't know that a girl as young as you would go for a 35-year-old." And it's like, dude, you don't have to do that, right?
Yeah.
All right, but now here's the opposite end of that question. Should you even ask a girl, right? Because let's say that she doesn't ask you. Should you ask her what her number is?
I'd say no. I kind of don't want to know. It's nothing. I like to go into relationships not wanting to know this, because I like to look at a girl with a clean slate, and it will twist my mind up if I hear about
53. You're like, oh god.
Yeah, I'm gonna want to find out a bit later though, after a couple of weeks dating, because if I hear it's over 100 or whatsoever, then there's a chance she might cheat on me later.
Oh yeah.
She's
for sure.
Probably still on Tinder even when we're dating.
Yeah.
So it's kind of up and down. I mean, if you're playing Never Have I Ever in a bar and you're all drunk and you're just playing drinky games, and then someone asks, well, it's not your fault, or maybe you'll ask when you're drunk. Generally, what do you feel, Jack?
So, I'll usually ask if the topic hasn't been broached. I'll usually ask after we've been on a few dates, and if I can see it like actually becoming a thing, if I can see her as a potential girlfriend or something like that, then yeah, I'll ask her at that point, because it does make a difference, right? And it makes a difference as to how I'm going to direct this relationship moving forward.
Yeah.
Because if her number is, I mean, let's be real, if her number is over like 20, then I'm like, oh, okay, great, let's have fun. That means you already know how to suck dick like a champ, and that means that we can do all sorts of freaky weird shit.
Yeah.
But if her number is like under 5, then I'm like, okay, so you're potential girlfriend material, you're trainable, I can get you to do everything the way I like, right? Like, okay, this is gonna change the way that I lead the relationship and the direction that I take it. Because I'm not gonna be, you know, like some girl who's been with one guy ever. I'm not gonna be like, all right, bitch, come here, I'm gonna choke you from behind while I fuck your ass, right? Like, you can't do that with the more virginal type girls. But whenever a girl has her numbers well into the double digits, then it's like, all right, so missionary style sex is not going to excite you. Let's get to some fun shit, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's usually when I'll broach the topic, is a few dates in or a few bangs in. And now that doesn't count if all the bangs are in one night, right? Because at that point, well, listen, if she's banging multiple times in one night, you already know where her number is, right? You don't need to know the exact number to know that it's up there.